Elvis Presley is the undisputed king of rock and roll and one of the most influential people of the 20th century. The legend, which has inspired no less than 85,000 impersonators around the world, is renowned for bringing rock into the mainstream with flamboyant shows and animated dance moves, and its iconic look certainly helps with that. While much is known about Elvis Presley, the lesser-known, more mysterious aspects of his career and personal life are truly fascinating. Here you can find amazing facts about the King of Rock that you may not have known. Not everyone recognized the King of Rock's talent right away. In school, Elvis Presley's music teacher told him he was merely average. Presley was something of a loner, and his classmates often teased him for playing hillbilly music. That might be why, although Presley was known to be an eccentric, supremely confident performer later in life, he was shy to perform publicly as a kid. You wouldn't know it by his antics later in life, though, on and off the stage. Elvis Presley, the eternal king of rock and roll, is known for a great many things, one of which was his hair. But Presley's signature black, shiny hair wasn't his natural look. It was a dye job. The rock icon was actually born blonde and started dyeing his hair when he was young, to achieve a more edgy look. Moreover, and in his younger years, Elvis has confessed he used black shoe polish to get the job done. But Presley's edgy persona wasn't always channeled toward music. The King of Rock wasn't always interested in rock, or music, for that matter. In fact, he didn't get his first guitar until he was 11 years old. Right after he got it, Presley learned to play and play well. The King originally wanted a rifle instead of a guitar, but his mother made sure he didn't get his hands on one. Of course, that would prove to play in his advantage. As you'll learn, though, Presley would never lose his interest in firearms. By the time Elvis made it big, people all over the world wanted to get a piece of him. He was selling out shows throughout the United States singing "Heartbreak Hotel" and "That's All Right," but unfortunately for his fans overseas, they'd have to keep waiting. While Presley performed in Canada in 1957, he never played outside of North America. It's curious that the most popular musician of the time didn't tour the world. And there are many speculations as to why he didn't. Some of those speculations have to do with his manager, about whom you'll soon learn more. It's pretty well known that Elvis Presley took a break from his music career when he was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1958, something almost unimaginable for a star to do today. And the move gained him much respect from his haters. When he was drafted, Presley refused an offer to enlist in special services to entertain and live in priority housing. Opting instead to serve as a regular soldier, he won over an initially skeptical segment of America that first saw him as a negative cultural influence. He would win over someone else during his time in the Army, too. Shortly after he was drafted into the Army, the King of Rock and Roll was stationed in Germany. It was there that he first laid eyes on the stunning Priscilla Bewley, whom he would eventually marry. Priscilla was just 14 years old at the time, and Presley was 24. Entering a romantic relationship with one of the biggest stars in the world came at an emotional cost to the young girl, as you'll soon learn. As great as it would seem for any young woman to be the object of Elvis Presley's desire, Priscilla Bewley's romantic relationship with the international star weighed on her. It wasn't always easy to walk in Presley's shadow from such a young age. "I was kind of lost really in who I was earlier in my life. I really didn't have teenage years," she has said. "I learned so much about him and was with him so much that I thought the way he did." Priscilla wasn't the only one to fall prey to Presley's charms in Germany, though. In addition to having the ability to rock out like no other, Elvis Presley was known to be gentle at times, especially in his younger years. It is widely believed that the king didn't like spending nights by himself. Some speculate his desire to not be alone while he slept was due to the hardship he faced in coping with the loss of his mother, who passed shortly before he was sent to Germany. In any case, Presley made sure he had someone by his side throughout his service. And, as you'll soon learn, it wasn't always Priscilla. Elvis Presley is known to have been a ladies' man, and some might expect that would mean he was married to various women throughout his life. But the king only ever married one woman, and that woman was Priscilla Bewley. Elvis and Priscilla married in Las Vegas in 1967, and even though the two made an adorable couple, the deeper aspects of their marriage remind the world that they were still human together. Priscilla has revealed a surprising fact about their relationship that sheds light on how the two interacted away from the cameras. Throughout Elvis and Priscilla Presley's time together, the King of Rock never really saw his wife without makeup, Priscilla has said. The king also didn't like to watch his wife getting dressed. To Elvis, she said, "Mystique was very important. He never wanted to see me getting dressed. He wanted to see the result of getting dressed," Priscilla said. She complied, admitting only in later years that she always had a little bit of makeup on. Elvis and Priscilla Presley split up in 1972, just a few years after they were married. It is well known that Presley's relationship with his wife began to deteriorate shortly after they married. But one of the reasons, according to Priscilla, is surprising. Things changed between the king and his wife, according to Priscilla, after they had a child together. They began to become more distant, and ultimately, the relationship fell apart. That wasn't the only secret Presley's ex-wife revealed about the rock legend, however. Elvis Presley was, apparently, a germaphobe. That's right, the rowdy, guitar-playing man's man was terrified of germs, Priscilla told the Daily Mail in 2015. And the star went to great lengths to make sure he was protected. The King of Rock didn't like eating at other people's homes, and when he did, he would take his own silverware. According to Priscilla, he would drink where the handle was, knowing that no one would ever drink at that side. No eccentric rock star's image is complete without an exotic pet, and as the king of all rock stars, Elvis Presley's was one of a kind. The king owned a very active pet chimpanzee named Scatter. Scatter was a fitting name, considering the chimp would run around Presley's parties at his Graceland mansion screaming and startling guests, often clad in suits or Hawaiian shirts. Scatter was apparently taught a few naughty tricks, one of which earned him an uppercut to the chin by one of Presley's lady friends. Think that's wild? Just wait. As mentioned, Elvis Presley loved firearms maybe as much as he loved guitars. And he wasn't necessarily the most careful gun owner in the world. One of Presley's friends, singer Tom Jones, said he once discovered a gun that Elvis had allegedly casually discarded in a dressing room. On another incident recounted by Ginger Alden, an ex-girlfriend of Presley's, the king fired at a television set. Talk about eccentric. In 1970, Elvis Presley had the sudden urge to meet the President of the United States at the time, Richard Nixon. The president granted his offer, and during their meeting Presley, bizarrely enough, requested a federal narcotics badge. Even more bizarrely, Nixon agreed to give him one. The Republican wasn't the only president the rock king reached out to, and, as you'll soon learn, it appears Elvis Presley didn't discriminate based on political party. Everyone who eats sandwiches has a favorite sandwich. Some of the more common ones are tuna fish, peanut butter and jelly, and ham and cheese. There may or may not be some healthier options available, too. Elvis Presley's favorite sandwich was none of those. A star like him couldn't afford to be cliché. The King's choice of sandwich was a peanut butter, bacon, banana, and honey sandwich, perhaps fittingly the most complex combination of flavors imaginable. Perhaps the most surprising fact on this list is that Elvis Presley was a mommy's boy. The King was intensely close with his mother throughout her life, and it is widely known that the two shared a special bond. After achieving monumental success at a very young age, Presley initially purchased his famous Graceland mansion for his parents. Even after his mother passed away, the superstar heartthrob kept her clothes and possessions at the mansion. The King of Rock and Roll had an image to maintain, and he was very well aware of it. At a certain point, Elvis noticed he didn't look as young as he had used to. 5 years later, at age 40, according to ex-girlfriend Linda Thompson, Presley had a facelift. Just 2 weeks before Elvis Presley passed away on August 16, 1977, the book Elvis: What Happened was released on August 1. The book was written by 3 of his former bodyguards and detailed many secrets about his personal life. He tried to pay the publishers before to stop them from publishing the book, but to no avail. The details in the book only exacerbated his ailments such as an enlarged colon, blood pressure, liver damage, and glaucoma.